Hi, I'm Chuck, KK6USY. Welcome to Ham Radio Ventures. If you guys have watched my videos for a long time now, you'll notice that I'm not a big fan of guying mast out. For one, it's an extra tripping hazard for people that might be in the park that you're at if you're doing a putt or something like that, or even yourself. So I've come up with a few ways of putting up my mast and not using any guy lines. The only thing that I have that holds my antenna mast up basically is the part in the ground and the antenna itself. So let me show you a few things that I use currently, but later in the video I'll show you some other products that I've bought off of Amazon that actually help set up your mast pretty easy. So let's check these out. All right, let me show you these. Now these are all ones that I have made. I made this one, and this one is made to go to like the 10-meter poles, and that's these here. All right. The problem, well, not a problem. The thing I don't like is basically I have to take off the bottom here. And then hold this until it gets on top of here, and this goes inside. It works really well, but you have to be careful. And I've never really had a problem with everything falling out, but you could. Now, I also have one. I'll see if I can find it for you, that I made the same kind of pole. This is a concrete pole for doing concrete forms. It's a form pole. Let me put this back on here before I do what I said I don't usually do. I'll get that out of the way. So what I did do I made some pucks one time. I did a video on it. I'll link the video down in the description for you guys. And that one had a puck that went here, here, and here. The top one was the size of this, so it fit the end of this tight. Actually, all of them were, but I put one on the top so that would actually hit this, and that makes it easier to take it on and off. Works really good, especially if you get the bottom puck on the ground. Okay. I made these two for smaller poles. Like this one here. I think this fits these, and this one here. These are cheap Chinese ones they're basically fishing poles off of eBay and Amazon. And then I think the smaller one there fits the Go Tour. The Go Tour is a really good, the Go Light. I know it says super hard, but 7.2 meter. You always want to go with the tallest one you can get because like one or two end pieces are not very strong, so you usually put those together. The only problem with this one is carbon fiber, and it works okay for like an end-fed or a dipole as long as you can kind of get it off. Don't use verticals on these. It really affects the vertical length, and it also affects the pattern. All right, so I've read. All right, but those two were for that. So let me get those out of the way. Okay, now I told you I had bought some stuff off of Amazon. Let me show you what I bought and used a little bit, but I don't really like it, but let me show you what it is, and then I'll show you something else that I really like a lot better.
All right, so here's the one I purchased. It works. I'm really not sure what I've done with this thing because I can't find it right now. I think I may have thrown it away because it didn't work the way I wanted it to work, and let me show you why. If you look up in here, let me just click on it so we can get a big picture and it won't keep changing on me. But if you look at this thing, this cutout at the top is what really, I didn't think it was going to be a problem. And the reason it's cut out is for a fishing reel so that the handle and stuff can lock in there better and fall down a little bit farther. Great for a fishing pole, not for a mast. Now, granted, you can, as long as you put this long side towards where, say you have end-fed half wave, it works fine there because you're going to pull against that tall side. But this would have been such a great setup if this would have been just a tube. All right, I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. It's also just a little big around, so it doesn't fit real tight. Really good thing. I was really hoping this one would be better than it was. Really lightweight, lighter than what I'm going to show you.
Okay, that one works okay. Not the greatest. If it was a solid piece all the way up, it'd work really well. I'm going to show you another one here, And the one I'm going to show you, I'd say a lot better. I said that in the video of the one I showed you on the Amazon site. Let me show you this one, and then we'll talk about it. And I'll give you some bad news, but if you wait to the end, I'll give you some good news. Okay, so this one is a 3D printed. This is ASA, one of the better products you can use for outside and do your own printing with. If you look inside there, the spike head is there. The only problem with this is if you can't push it down, you need some way of sticking something inside, because I would not hit this. Printed materials are not the strongest. This is pretty strong because I beefed it. I did more outer layers and stuff on it. So it's pretty strong. It's pinned, so that won't come out. I just put this on here. I had it in a backpack on my motorcycle so that it wouldn't poke a hole through it. The nice thing about this is I made this for the Carbon 6. And if you guys, you probably can't hear it, but when it goes in, it pushes the air out, okay? There is no wiggle room. That's why this pole works really good, and I'll show you that later. Works really well. The only problem is I kind of need to make something to throw inside of it to pound it down. Now we're going to go to what my favorite one is now. Let me show you this one, and I'll tell you why it's my favorite. I found this on Amazon. The reason this is my favorite is because it has 2 spikes. Now, in some places it may not help you because you may not be able to get this, it might be rocky or something, you might not be able to get 1 spike in. But when you have 2, and you push this all the way to the ground, this thing is solid. And I'll explain to you how I do that. Now, the bad news is, I bought this, I was going to do a video, show it to you guys. You cannot buy this now, unfortunately. I know it's pretty bad. I'm showing you what I think works the best, and I can't give you a link for it. But I've scoured for over a year trying to find something like this, and I have. And I will put a link down in the description. If you want to help the channel, buy it off my link, please, and that will help the channel. But I found you a link, but well worth it. You guys will love this, believe me. This is steel. It's a little bit heavier than the other one. And one of the things you can do with this one, if you have problems, I think you can do this. This unscrews like the other one did. And it's kind of got a thing at the top here. Now, if you really had to pound this in the ground, if you took and put a board or something over the top of that, or really careful with a hammer, maybe a dead blow hammer. You guys know what a dead blow hammer is? You can get those really cheap at Harbor Freight. It's basically plastic with lead inside of it. You could hit this a few times and not hurt it because the threads are way down here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can focus on it for you guys. Okay, see that? Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should never guy, but the only times I usually guy is if it's super, super windy, or I've put my Chucky hex, the hex beam up, or one of my Moxons, because there's more weight up there, and that's more to save the mast than anything else, okay? Now, the other thing I did do to this, I didn't show you before, because the screw part of this, the threads part goes up inside here, I made something to go inside because I'm a little anal sometimes. Yeah. But I made this little puck, and all this puck does is a spacer. It's the height of what sticks in the inside, because I didn't want my mast coming down and hitting that sharp edge. So that just goes in there, and it raises it just a little bit, and everything fits in there nice and tight. Woo! That was pretty tight there. I just shot the end of it off. I wish I'd have caught that, man. One thing I do sometimes is put like a sticker or some tape around where the top of this is. It gives it a little bit less movement inside the tube. So that's just another thing that I do. It also protects your mast. These masts are not cheap. And like I said before, if you're doing verticals, don't use carbon fiber. It does affect things. Believe me, if I had some hair, I'd have pulled it out one day trying to figure out why my measurements were so off. And it was the carbon fiber mast. It was that Go Tour one that I have. And it was just totally throwing all my measurements off. If you get it away from it a ways, it might be okay, but try not to. Now there will be, like I said, there will be a link to this one in the description. I'll also leave a link to the orange one if you want to try that one. If for some reason this isn't bad, it works, and you could get by just maybe slipping something over the top of that one if you already have it, like a piece of PVC that's just a little bit bigger, and that would help that top. As long as you're pulling towards it, it's fine. It's just, I don't know, it'll move if you're not pulling towards that high section. Just a thought. All right, so here's all the different ones I have. Sorry, the grass is a little bit wet this morning. This is my carbon 6. This is the one I printed. This is the one you guys will probably want to get. And these are some other ones I made. And I told you the difference of why I don't like these as much. All right. So I had this on there because I put this in a backpack. So basically you're just going to press this down. If you can press it all the way to the ground, which I can because my yard's been watered, it's pretty sturdy. And I've had these things up for, when I was in Yellowstone, I had the big one up on my big mast, my 10 meter, and it was up for a week and never had a problem with just a vertical. I had the Poseidon on it. So that one works pretty good. The only problem with this is you have to have something to push down on to actually, dang, it's in there, let me tell you. It would be nice to have something on there where I could pull it up probably. So I probably put a rope under it. But the problem is you have to have something that you could hit that spike with, because I wouldn't want to hit this printed material, all right? Now I have these are kind of the same thing. They don't really have the base. They go in pretty easy. This is just fiberglass, and these are made to fit different poles. Inside, I don't like that as much. So this new one that I was showing you guys, let's push it in the ground. And we're going to push it all the way down to that marker, that bend in it. And when you put this one in, it's pretty tight. Has this little rubber thing at the top, which is like this direction here. This is where I would guide. If I'm gonna, my antenna would go this direction or that direction, because that's where the two are down. That's the strongest. And then off the sides, if I'm doing a dipole, it's just going to come off the sides, and that will guide it that direction. So really no need for it. This is the best one I've found. I could make this, but I mean, spoiler alert, I found these again for you guys. So I'm going to leave I will leave a link from Amazon down in the description. If you want to help the channel out, please buy my link. If you don't, that's okay too. This is the best setup I've found. Now I can come in here, and usually I get the first piece out first, like that. And now I can set up my antenna. And this one actually does have a place where you can grab when it's down, because this is above. So what you're really resting on is this right here. And between the two of these, it makes it really, really stable. And this being one big piece and not cut out like the orange one, works really good. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this is something that can help you out on your parks on the air or even your soda adventures. I've used these all the time. Like I said, sometimes I'll just throw it in a tree, but depending on what type of antenna you're putting in the tree, not the best thing that I've ever done. It can be very hard to get your antenna in and out. The wire part gets stuck in the tree sometimes. So I actually prefer a mast when I can use it. So if this was helpful for you, please hit the like. And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit all. That way you'll get all my future videos. I'm Chuck, KK6USY for Ham Radio Ventures. Thank you for spending your time with me. And 73 all, and I hope to catch you guys on the airways, maybe with your mask with no guy lines. Okay, I lost my good lighting, but it'll be okay over the shade there. I'm gonna put this up because if I didn't do this, somebody would complain that I didn't actually deploy it. And my wife and I discussed it, and she says, you better do it. Hopefully you guys stuck around to the end. So first thing I'm gonna do is stick this in. All right. I'll pull this out, and I usually pull the first section out before I get it because it's hard to, I don't have any way of getting it if it's inside. Put that down in there. Today I'm just gonna use this, something I'm working on. That will hold it to the top. I usually use a disc. You guys probably can't see that from here, but I have one that usually fits inside here. It wasn't in there today. I probably took it out. So this is an in-fed half wave. I'm not gonna put it on the air, I'm just gonna set it up. So this is kind of real time of how long it takes. Now, you guys still might be guying up right now, all right? I would usually lay this out, the grass there also, a little ways to the direction I'm going. Oh, let me do something different here though, because I'm gonna pull it this direction. So let's put it in that direction. Now it's going towards where I'm gonna pull it to. All right. Love the silicone wire. It's what we sell on all of our Coffee and Ham Radios antennas kits. coffeeandhamradios.com. Put a link for that in the bottom also, so you don't have to remember it. We make really nice stuff, guys. Not stuff that somebody's printing in their mom's basement. Okay, we have to pay for these because they're done really well. So we're done there. I'm going to hook this on here. Should be able to hook it on. Don't forget to do that. And on this one, I don't have to worry about any coax. So there's one section. One thing I do like about this particular mast, these sections really stick well. And usually I would probably put just a little bit of a foot of paracord or something at the top, just to kind of get it away from the carbon fiber. But if I didn't have it, I wouldn't. So there we go. That's about 18 to 20 feet. And I don't know if you guys can see the top, but let me pull on it. The thing has not gone anywhere yet, and I've got it bent about halfway over. Yeah, we'll go a little farther. I don't want to break it. All right, I'm gonna let it go. Pretty good, guys. That's a win.